Greetings, scrappers, scrapettes, and recyclers everywhere. Welcome back to another episode of D Scraps, E Scraps, hostess with the mostest, Scrappy D. So, if you've been following this series, you'll know that I picked up a shipping container full of electronics. A lot of servers, a lot of computers, a lot of wire, just a lot of stuff. I was really very blessed. The fellow who sold it to me basically gave me the keys and told me to go empty it at my leisure. So that was awesome. I can take what I can manage. I don't have to rent a truck. I can fit it all in Big Red. So what I did, what I tend to do is I tend to do a lot of the same item all at once. And I do that for a couple of reasons. I try to ship to board sort just about every day. And it makes it easy for me if I'm taking the same things apart. I've got the same kind of boards. I can pack the box and off it can go if I have enough weight to warrant it. So that's why I tend to do that. I'm getting down to the last of these Cisco 4321s servers. But after doing all the ones that I've done, I found a couple of shortcuts, and I got very, very fast at it, which if you watched my video the other day, or yesterday even, I would not say fast was the operative word. It took me half an hour to take something apart that should have taken me 10 minutes. I was going to delete the video because I thought it looked really foolish and amateurish, but I'm going to leave it up only for instructional purposes. So by watching me struggle with that video, if you so choose, you'll appreciate practice makes perfect. I may even entitle this video as such, Practice Makes Perfect. I own a music school. I'm a music teacher. So practice makes perfect may be a very good operative thing for me to do. So this is the back, and you actually have to get all of these off. You have to get this off, these, and I just took that one out of there. So you have to get all of these out. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you'll get a nice processor card in here. Sometimes. But this is an expansion port. That's where you would put a processing card or some such thing. See, when they do these computers, and that's the other thing, I couldn't remember the term the other day. These boards, computer boards, they're called printed circuit boards, PCBs. I couldn't remember last night. I was just really knackered by the time I got to the last video of the night. It had been very icy and snowy and sleety and slushy and just really all things disgusting weather-wise yesterday. Of course, today it's 40 degrees, you know. And tonight, it's supposed to plunge back down again and snow. So, oh, no extra cards in here. Boo! It would look like this, or something similar. I got these out of one of the other Cisco's that I did. I'll take this off, it'll unscrew, but I can do that later. This will be a nice high-grade peripheral board. Peripheral boards are anything that's not a motherboard can go as a peripheral board. It's kind of a big blanket term. Board Sort has some excellent videos out on grading boards. Also, Shark Scrapper does too. E-Waste Ben has some out as well. A lot of his videos are older. So I did discover these have to come out, and this clip had to come out. you know, you do enough of them, you find stuff out, right? So this is where the ears were. Those are the ears. They hold it onto the rack. I'm going to get the front faceplate off real quick. I did get to the scrapyard this morning, which I was really happy about. I was able to turn in all that nice clean cast aluminum from these units. I showed you how to do these the other day. These were the Cisco Aeronets. This was cast underneath, and there were some nice boards inside. So we did okay. I cashed those in. I cashed in a lot of wire. I cashed in clean aluminum. So I was able to get rid of a lot of stuff and get a little bit of money into me pocket. Now that cover comes off nice and easily now, just like that. And I've gotten quite a few of these. Most of these Ciscos all look the same inside. This is not the fault of Cisco. Cisco makes a very good quality product. I mean, I've seen some beautiful Cisco boards. But because this is a printed circuit board, when they make this, it's all green. So then the customer calls Cisco and says, okay, I want a server board that's going to power my surveillance system, or is going to power my audio system, or is going to power my crypto mining rig. And then Cisco will add the components to create that board. So obviously whoever ordered these, you know, didn't need all that board filled up. I've seen some Cisco boards that are completely covered with stuff. So it's not the fault of Cisco. It's just what the client needs. These server boards are custom. So they are designed and created for an individual's business needs. These are steel, they're not brass. Sometimes they are, but not today. You've got to get the screws and the riser bolts off. There's a screw here that was hiding on me the other day. It was under that blue strip. So you got to get this off. You got to get this off. This is where the processing cards slid in, or the expansion cards, whichever they actually may be. I'm going to try and get that off. Just going to pop that right here. And it should come right off. Should. Keyword, operative word, should. But you got to get that off. All of these things hold the board to the metal plate underneath. But as you can see, this is also far less tangly than it was yesterday for me. Before and after. Just like that. There's two screws here. I've got to get these off, and then I've got to get this fan off. But as you can see, it's going much better than my attempt of yesterday. I hadn't put up any, I hadn't done any scrapping in quite some time. It's just like everything else. If you don't do it every day, you forget. Get this guy off. These are called rails. Everybody's saying, Scrappy D, don't forget to take the battery off. Thank you. Yes, I will remember. That's actually usually the first thing I do. Nickel cadmium and lithium-ion batteries. If they're shredding this board for metal recovery, that'll catch on fire, or it could. And then they've got an awful big problem on their hands. I sure as shooting ain't gonna be responsible for that. They'll return the whole load to you. I've seen them do it to people. They'll return the whole load. It's just like at my scrapyard today. I had separated it, but the guys dumped it all into one big bin. Not because they did anything wrong, just because that's just how they work. But I had separated my cat wire from my 35% recovery, and they dumped it all into one bin and paid me one price. And, I was like, hey guys, can you go over and check that bin, because I think there's at least 10 pounds of cat wire in there. They're not recyclers. They're metal yard workers, and that doesn't make them bad. They're just dumping everything that looks alike. So, I was going somewhere with that, but I don't know where. So, they don't always separate things and don't always grade things like you and I will as scrappers. Okay, anyway. No idea why there's a fan on this board. There's no CPU under here. I haven't figured that out. I'm going to throw this in with the copper motors. Not all yards will buy these. I've got a big bin of them in the basement. And I used to just throw them in with shred, but shred pays less than a penny a pound. Whereas if I take the time to get the copper out of here, I could at least get a couple cents for the copper. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get at that. But there are copper windings. That's a nice piece of brass, and there are copper windings inside. I don't think you can see them on this camera. If none of those fails, I'll throw the whole bucket full of them off and shred. It's paying like a penny a pound right now. It's ridiculous. Remember, when you snip these guys off cover, if you were watching the video yesterday, you saw one go that way, and it hit my hand, and then it went, which is much better than it hitting me in the eye. I would say this is a good size pair of nips, but I even think one size smaller is useful. They're crescent wrenches. Harbor Freight sells them. They're really not terribly expensive, but just a size smaller would, I think, make my life easier for getting gold pins off and things like that. And that hit me right in the hand. Didn't hurt, but to my point. These are on a spring, so. Butter. I'll point that away from me. That's it. Right. Look at that. Does that look easier than yesterday? Sure is. The only thing I've really got left to do is just knock that off. There's nothing under it. But that's it. So much easier. I'll take this clean piece of aluminum. That's plastic. This is a telecom low. There's lots of chips. There's a chip here. There's really not a lot. There's a lot of MLCCs. And it's not a great board. I'm going to leave the gold fingers again just because it's not a great board. This is basically rubbish. Most of the good things on that quadrant are on the back. This is this. So I'm going to put it in with low-grade telecom. And it's coming out of a piece of telecom equipment. So low-grade telecom. I have them all grouped together, all of the boards like this, and they're in their own separate box. It'll make it easy for board sort too, because if they say, you know, D, you're wrong, we have to grade those as something else. They don't have to go through every individual board in the box. They can just go through the whole load and say, you know, we disagree. We would prefer that this be graded as such and such, so and so. And they're very honest. I mean, if it goes up, they'll say it's a better board. If you made a mistake and they have to downgrade you, they'll write you and tell you why. So no problem with that. And that's all she wrote for this video. Yeah, it's supposed to be cold and nasty and yuckadoodle dandy tomorrow, so we'll see what tomorrow brings. In the meantime, stay safe, stay warm, stay wonderful. God bless. See you on the next one.